So one thing I've always come to learn is that if you really want to learn a skill, you really need to drop yourself in the deep end and just knuckle on through that. As you can see by how long it's been since the last upload, I got rather stuck. However, I've made good progress and we should be ready to continue on. So as you remember, in the last episode, we made this hinge, a test for the drawer, and a concept of an idea of my interchangeable center tray. Since last time, I've been working a lot in Fusion to try and combine these ideas whilst also improving on the designs of them. Now, unfortunately, I haven't actually finished the full design, but we're near enough at a point where I'm good to continue on with this project. Obviously, it won't be finished today, but if you do want to see it fully finished, remember to subscribe and like and all that whatnot, and I will keep you updated. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is hop into Fusion and I'll show off the last bits, the latest bits that I've made, and then we can get them sent to the printer. So let's do that. Okay, so here we can see the finalized design. So obviously we've got the tray here with the hinges, the front panel and the drawer. So this is definitely not the first design, but I had to make some. I already completely forgotten how to. There we go. So I've already iterated through this a few times, and this is definitely not the first design that I've made, but this is the one I'm feeling pretty confident about when it comes to printing it and it fitting in with what I want it to do. Hopefully the tolerances for like this slot to here are all pretty good, and the same with all this fitting in. And of course I've tried to make some pretty nice looking handles just to give it a bit more of a smoother appearance. So I can run through, because of the timeline, run through more or less my methodology with making this product. So let's just get that there. So first it was just creating a simple box, as always. Then I cut out the tray, cut out the top. I created a few planes. Which one of those is body? No, construction. Yeah, so I created a few planes here to cut off the front, like that. So basically, that's the best way I could think about is cutting out this slot, was to create two planes here, cut this bit out, and then just rejoin this bit. So I moved that out the way, rejoined everything. I then added this slot, cut out a larger slot on the bottom, of course mirroring it on the other side. So that's mirrored, and then I moved it down. Okay, so then I created, let's just hide these planes. Yeah, here we are. So I made basically, if I go to the that bit, so we've got a nice, basically, I followed along from where I made these tracks and created a sketch around it, made this bigger, and then just extruded that out. Added just an extra rectangle, put that in, combined it, hollowed it out, chamfered the inside, as you can see, just to help it when it prints. Moved it out so I could get a better look. Let's turn off that bit. Made a little handle, once again, just to make it print a little bit easier. Made a little cut in there so fingers can get in. Oh, well, probably nails at that point. It's quite small. And then just some nice little chamfers just to make it a bit smoother. Then I just moved that to the side and created once again the same hinge I'd made last time, because all I did was move them here, blended it in, found a good middle spot for those two, shorten them down a bit, I don't need them that long, and push this bit out and blended it. I then just moved everything out just to inspect it. Oh, that's not what I wanted to do. So I moved everything out just to inspect it. So obviously that's now up here. And of course I nearly forgot yeah, there we are. I nearly forgot to put the side handles on. So once again, just a nice smooth little handle design, and then mirrored it. So yeah, that's the design. So let's export all this out and send it to the printer. Okay, so I've exported all the separate parts and sent them to Bambu Studio. So obviously they're all on their own separate plates because there's no way I'm going to be able to multi-part print these, but that shouldn't be too much of an issue. Obviously this is the reason why I wanted this slot mostly, is so that I can print it with this orientation, because of course I've got this big cavity here for the drawer, and obviously these hinges as well. Obviously this one's going to be printed this way, and this one's going to be printed this way. And one thing I really enjoy about all these 3D software programs is that they all have very different ways of navigating around, so you end up more or less your mind sticking to one version and then you're struggling to use the other versions. So yes, let's preview these. So obviously that's going to be about 30 minutes. This one I've decided to add some tree supports here and here just to help these parts get nice and straight, but that's going to mean 3 hours 7 minutes. That warning there is for these. I think it's because these are technically separate parts, but they're right next to each other. I don't think there's going to be any issue with that though. Well, fingers crossed. But yeah, and that's going to be about 4 hours 34 minutes. So that is 8 hours of printing in total. If I do that, yeah, 8 hours 10 minutes printing in total. So not too bad. So yeah, let's get this off to the printer. And we're back. So it has taken a while to get these all printed out. This was 4 hours, this was 3, this was only half an hour. So we've definitely used the printer a lot, but all in all, I believe everything has come out pretty well. Even these small hinges here are working. So of course the plan is to just slot the lid on and slot it out so we can use that, but the hinges are looking pretty good, and yeah, I'm happy with them. So that is looking good. And then we also have the front tray. Unfortunately, I didn't wait long enough for it to cool down before taking it off the build plate, so it has bent a little bit. However, I believe that might actually prove to be quite useful, because when I slot it in, obviously it's bent, so it's pushing out, so it's keeping it in place. But it's a nice smooth fit, unlike last time, and there's definitely a bit more meat here, so hopefully that will keep it in place. But yes. So moving on to the tray, well, obviously we've got these supports here just to try and keep a bit more strength in this slot bit. So let's just remove these. These are coming off beautifully. Whatever they did to program the supports, definitely a good program for combining that. So yeah, that's all good. Just move these out of the way. So hopefully this should just go in. It's a bit stiff. Look at that. We're in. That is definitely a tight fit though. And I definitely didn't make this handle big enough. Okay, that is really wedged in there. Oopsie. Oh. I think what might be happening is a vacuum might be being created because of how close of a fit it is. So that pulling it out is rather difficult. But I think maybe with a little bit of sandpaper, we can get that to be a bit more of a agreeable fit. But yeah, it definitely goes in pretty fine. So I consider that, minus the bit of a wedging problem that seems to get here, I'd consider that a successful design, if a bit tight, but could be that there's still a bit of a support along this bit that I need to shave off. But yeah, I think I need to stop using such tight tolerances with these things and give them a bit more room to breathe. However, I think it's safe to assume that today's project, or rather this last few months' project, has come out fairly well. So obviously the next thing for us to do is to design the lid for this and the internal tray with the little slots for all the tools. So be sure once again to subscribe, like if you want to see more of this, and of course comment down below on what you think, and maybe tell me a few reasons why we can avoid doing this. But yeah, that was definitely a success. I've learned a lot when it came to design, so that's always good. I definitely know that if I need handles or stuff like that, I should probably make them a little bit bigger. So yeah, but no, I think that was pretty successful. Let me know what you think, and I'll catch you next time. Thank you.